Hey, March 17th, happy birthday to my wife. Today is her birthday, and she's 62 years old today, so good for her for living that long.
I like the storyline that your wife is 30 years older than you.
Yeah, she looks great for her age. It's her skincare routine. Hey, I am in Omaha at the end of this month, and then I am in. Tyler Cox is in Omaha, so he'll probably get that show. And then I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and Springfield, Missouri next month in April. And I've always got a bunch of other shows. Just go to jerrymyers.com/shows. We'd love to see you there. So that would help. It would be awesome.
Hey man, have you ever heard of Clark Stanley?
Clark Stanley.
Yeah.
I've heard of his brother Flat
Stanley.
Tim, I know you're Todd.
I'm not Todd. Like, I cannot overemphasize enough. I'm not Todd. To be clear, I am not Todd. We need to be clear, I'm not Todd.
Not Todd. Not Todd. Things I learned last night.
Clark Stanley, here he is.
Oh, good. We're going back in time.
No, this is correct. This was taken yesterday.
For audio listener, it's an old Western guy, and he's got who's the character in Rudolph that has this facial hair? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you know what? Yeah. That's the claymation.
It's the mustache and the goatee combo. No beard, but mustache goatee combo. What character is that in Rudolph?
Hold on, I'm on IMDb.
You're on IMDb looking for a claymation character? What else is this claymation character in? Let's see. Oh, he's in the Fast and Furious 3. Did you know that?
Well, here's the thing. I thought what was going to happen was it would show the cast and it would have the picture.
No, it's going to show the picture of your idiot. It's going to show the picture of the actor.
Picture of your idiot. Okay, first of all, now that I'm looking at this, it is close. It is close.
He's got the Colonel Sanders hair.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. It is close.
I don't. Well, I mean, now that I'm looking at it, it's not that close. Actually.
Oh, okay. Am I just thinking of Colonel Sanders then, maybe? Or?
Yeah, I can't remember what this guy's name is. Hold on, let's take a look at him. Let's watch and listen.
Okay.
Here we go. This is. Is this who you're talking about?
No, not at all. Not at all. Am I talking about?
The lumberjack. I don't know what his name is.
His name is shucks. It's a mountain range. You're really bad at searching this stuff.
Here's all the characters. Here's all the characters.
Are you kidding me right now?
Okay, here we go. Here's all of them.
It's Sam the Snowman.
Santa.
Sam the Snowman, dude. I'm not talking about Yukon Cornelius. I'm talking about Sam the Snowman. Look at Sam the Snowman. Like, go look up Sam the Snowman.
You're right. It is Sam the Snowman.
And then this.
You're right.
You guys can everyone can just shut up because I'm not an idiot. All right?
I'm not an idiot.
Pull up Sam the Snowman.
Oh, you want me to get a picture of him?
Yeah, you can see him closer.
Okay, here he is.
Yeah,
that's it. You're right. That's that guy. That's the same. You're right. I was thinking you were talking about this guy, and then
because you're dumb and you think I'm dumb.
That's a little similar.
Sometimes
but
your dumbness makes you think that I'm just as dumb. All right, and I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. You should know that by now.
You should know I'm dumb, but not that dumb.
Hey, look at me.
Hey,
memory is important. Memory is all we have.
Persist or perish.
Persist or perish. It goes so hard, dude.
This guy's got Sam the Snowman facial hair.
He does have Sam the Snowman facial hair, and it's on point. So what's it? Charles Stanley, right?
Clark Stanley.
Clark Stanley, okay.
Yeah, Clark Stanley. So Clark Stanley, he's significant. His nickname is the Rattlesnake King. Which
sick.
So sick.
We also have merch for that.
The Rattlesnake King. So here's his story. In 1879, he spent 11 years working as a cowboy before this. So he was up to
working as a cowboy.
Yeah, so he was a cowboy. He was born in Abilene, Texas, but he moved out to Walpi, Arizona, where he studied under medicine men at the Hopi tribe. Is it Hopi or Hopi? Hopi? I think it's Hopi. The Hopi tribe, learning their medicinal techniques.
Okay.
And it should be noted that leading up to this point in time, there was a large immigrant population from China who was working on the railroad, helping build the railroads across the country.
Okay.
And they had brought over with them from China a classic Chinese remedy called snake oil. And this was an oil that they took from...
Got it. Okay. Okay.
This was an oil that they took from Chinese water snakes, and they would use it to relieve joint pain. And so they would rub it on their joints after a hard day's labor. And working on the railroad, obviously a physically intense job, and they would share it with other railroad workers. And it became pretty popular among railroad workers. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you got to try this snake oil stuff. It works. It really works."
And that's what their company was called. Was It Works.
It works.
And I've done a corporate event for them before, and I do feel like if your name has to be It Works, it doesn't signal confidence. You know? That's like calling it's like calling a restaurant. It's good.
It's good.
You guys want to go on that? It's good.
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know if I trust that.
I want to call a restaurant past health inspection.
They couldn't put it in the name if it wasn't true.
We passed the health inspection. That doesn't signal.
What do they serve there? Doesn't really matter. They passed the health inspection. It doesn't really matter. You can't complain.
Yeah.
So Clark was working as a cowboy. He hears about the snake oils being very successful.
Yeah.
And so he moves to Walpi, Arizona, and he finds the Hopi tribe. And he says, "Can you teach me about snake oils?" And so they say, "Yeah, we use rattlesnake." And so we juice the rattlesnake and get the oil.
How do they get the oil?
You kill the rattlesnake and then you put it in a vat and you burn off the oil on it. So like boil it and then juice the oil out of the boiled liquid. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yeah, you're not juicing it. The snake would probably bite you, and rattlesnakes are killer. So you don't do that. It is the official position of this podcast to not try to juice a rattlesnake. So he studied under them for 2 years.
Okay.
They taught him everything they know about oiling snakes. Or
yes. Yeah, sure. Don't just push through. Tell the story. Don't worry about how you said it. It was dumb. Keep going. We've already established we're dumb.
And so then he learns everything he knows about, and he starts making snake oil.
Uh-huh.
He goes up to Boston, and he learns under a local Boston druggist.
Druggist?
Yeah, I know that sounds like a crazy term, but that's what's in the article that I read. They called him a druggist.
Sure.
Which I don't know if it's a legitimate thing to call somebody, but because
he wasn't a pharmacist, I guess.
Yeah, and he wasn't a drug dealer. Somewhere in between.
Somewhere, okay.
Yeah, it's like a less than legal pharmacist, but not illegal. So he's a druggist.
Sure.
And so he taught him all about marketing medicine, because at the time, marketing medicine was a weird thing. This was pre-FDA.
Yeah, which we've talked about in our dental episodes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This was pre-FDA. So
what was that guy's name that kept teeth? Just search tooth necklace dentist and I'll guarantee you'll find it. I got to teach you how to Google search stuff because you couldn't find any of the characters in Rudolph.
Tooth necklace dentist came up with a bunch of necklaces for sale. And yikes. This is like gold tooth necklace.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this did not work the way I think you thought it was going to work.
Old time dentist.
History.
Tooth
necklace. Brief history. The most outrageous dentist. Here it is. Is it going to give us the name? Painless Parker.
Painless Parker.
Yeah, that's right. Painless Parker.
There we go. It took me a second, but I got on my first try.
I was your first try. I searched what you told me to search.
Yeah, and that's why the AI assistants aren't going to work. Because I just tried to do it through him. Bad. And he's like a somewhat competent person. You know?
Bad.
That bad.
So he goes there and he learns the ways.
I would love this podcast if the guy on the right would shut up.
Make that guy on the right shut up.
That skinny guy on the right, parentheses, hot.
Skinny, annoying, but hot.
But hot. Parentheses, but hot.
So this is in the era.
Uh-huh.
FDA doesn't exist yet.
Of course.
So there's nothing like regulating the claims.
There was a time when things were just, you could do it, you know?
Yeah.
So he's a snake oil salesman. We're getting there. Yeah,
we're getting there. And this was also in a time where medicine was interesting because doctors were working, they were primarily doing things like bloodletting. And so they were doing very painful procedures. They were doing shock therapy.
Right. And this is another thing too, is like relative to human history, this is not that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not that long ago.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I thought it was crazy. I got a filling done. It is insane that I can go to the dentist and they can drill into my teeth while I lay there and think about, gosh, no one's buying tickets to my comedy special taping. It's coming up on March 22nd and I really got to sell these tickets. And oh my gosh, this is so stressful to have to market this thing. And I actually have forgotten to mention it in the last 2 times that I've done the tour dates at the beginning of the episode. I forgot to say, hey, March 22nd, I'm filming my comedy special. But like they can literally be drilling into my bones. And I don't feel a thing. That is absurd that we live in this reality.
Yeah.
But we also live in another, like at the same time, some blonde mom from Utah can be on TikTok and be like, oh, actually the anesthetic they gave you at the dentist is actually really bad for you and you should be drinking raw milk. And if you just chug a gallon of raw milk, you'll be drilling your teeth all day and it won't matter because you're dead. You know what I'm talking about?
Because you're dead.
Like it's so crazy that like 1879, there's no regulation on anything. They're doing incredibly painful procedures for every ailment.
Yeah. And here's the thing about medicine at that time, like it was very early, like in terms of like actual discovery of the things that worked.
Right.
But there were procedures that they did actually work. They just didn't have anesthetic. So they were incredibly painful.
They would just get you super drunk.
Yeah.
And they would pull your
bite
tooth
down.
Out. I was actually thinking about that. I was talking to Reagan. I was looking at, she's got a couple paintings in her, in the house of, prints of paintings. We're not rich.
Yeah.
But, and I was like, all these old paintings, no one's ever showing their teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
That's because they don't have
It's probably because everyone's teeth were either gone or bad.
Yeah.
Like, Mona Lisa's not smiling because she doesn't have teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. She doesn't have teeth.
No, think about it for real.
That's probably true. And if she did, they were gross.
That's what I'm saying.
The Mona Lisa's got bad teeth.
I bet all of their teeth were disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they didn't brush.
They couldn't.
They didn't brush. And yeah, have you felt teeth that haven't been brushed lately?
And like, if it was hurting, they just pulled them out.
Yeah, they just ripped them out. And they probably were rotting a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
They'd bite into an apple and then it'd just be gone.
I don't know. Maybe, am I wrong? Like, did they have dental practices? Did they like, am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
But when you look at the dentures that George Washington had, that's horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
You know?
Crazy.
And it's like, dude, I don't know, man. This seems like.
Yeah.
The fact that you can just.
Yeah,
that's crazy that we were able to.
Science.
And I want to scream into the void when people are like, oh yeah, it's all big pharma and they're all again. It's like, oh my gosh, man. People don't die at 5 years old anymore.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy.
People used to have 12 kids. Half of them died.
Yeah, they had to because they were all going to die.
Half of them died.
It was a numbers game. It was like sales.
That's like the whole, that's what I'm saying. You got to shoot for 12 so you can keep 7 by the time they get older.
I mean, yeah, exactly. 100%.
And now we don't have to have 12 kids. I'd rather have 2 kids that I can really take care of.
Yeah. Yeah. And know they're going to survive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this show, we would love to see you on our Patreon. It's a great way to financially support the show. We don't make money from this. It just helps us to pay the people who do make money from this, like Alex
and Robert, our editor, and maybe one day me and Tim.
Maybe
but,
one day.
But only if you join.
Only if you join. We can't.
We're
get
waiting.
Paid
we can't get paid
until you pay.
We can't feed Tim's kid until you join.
He's hungry. In the arms of an angel. And so like that was the thing, is like at that time, medicine, technically there was some things. There were some things that they were doing that were not helpful.
Right.
But there were a lot of things that they were doing that were actually helpful, but they were incredibly painful. So most people would opt not to do those.
Yeah.
And they would not visit actual doctors. But on the other hand, there was a lot of these different sorts of oils and drinks and medicines and tonics that people would sell that technically they had some medicinal properties.
Okay.
So the snake oil that the Chinese...
So they would rather soothe the pain than, like the dull pain of a tooth. You don't want to go through the excruciating pain of removing that kind of tooth.
Yeah. And I think people didn't understand that actually helped, that solved the problem. It was a better solution.
Yeah, it's true.
I think what people found is like the snake oil that the Chinese immigrants brought over, the Chinese water snake, the oil that they got from it was high in omega-3. And so you rub that oil on, it actually does help your joints feel better. And so it soothes that joint pain. But rattlesnake wasn't high in omega-3. But anyways, and so there was things like that different tonics and elixirs and things that they were selling at that time, they had some kind of... Are you looking to see if your Celsius has omega-3?
There's no omega-3 in this.
This is why my joints hurt. Celsius, there should be omega-3 in this.
Ow. Ow.
Oh, my joints hurt because the Celsius has no omega-3.
Do those special K bars that you bought for our studio have omega-3 in them?
They might.
Old person snacks.
And so these things were actually helping some people. Coca-Cola started as like one of these elixirs. It wasn't a beverage that you drink. It was a medicine. And so people drink it because...
NyQuil started the same way.
Really?
Yeah, it was a medicine. And now it's just something I enjoy with a cigarette at the end of the night. Smoking is cool. And I've just a whiskey glass of NyQuil.
NyQuil. I will say there's a warning on the NyQuil I just bought, because if you listen to the last episode, you know I'm getting over sickness. There's a warning label on the back that says, "Parents, know your teen." And it talks about how your teen's probably getting drunk on your NyQuil. So
parents, know your teen. Your child might try to use this to see the Hat Man. You saw him too, right?
You saw him too, right?
What?
So he goes and he learns all about the way that these elixirs and tonics are being sold.
Uh-huh.
And the way they're selling them is very clever, honestly, because this is a time where there was no radio, there was no TV, and a lot of people, especially in the American West, lived in towns where there was no theater. There was nothing to go do except for church. And so there was nothing interesting happening in your life.
And that's why they thrived. That's why this country did so much better then. Because now we got all these kids' sports taking the kids away from church.
It's because of flag football.
It's because of flag football.
Flag football has made our country so sinful. So they would go across the American West and they would essentially bring a little carnival with them, a little sideshow.
Yeah. It's the same thing Painless Parker did.
And so he learned, he's like, I can do this. And so he goes in 1893, he goes to the Chicago World's Fair.
They brought a guy who was going to play the local Pac-Man machine and beat it and get the high score.
And everyone's like, what is that?
Oh my gosh. What game did that Billy guy play? Was it Pac-Man?
Billy Bass?
No. Was it Billy? The guy who cheated.
Oh, yeah. Billy, he was, I think it was Pac-Man. I think it was.
I don't know if it was.
Billy McFarland, is that his name?
Sure.
Doesn't make a difference to me. I'm just trying to figure out which episodes we're trying to reference here so I can tell you to go watch them.
It's probably going to be Painless Parker, right?
Oh, yeah, Painless Parker. No, they were putting together a tour to go play video games or whatever.
Oops. Billy McFarland is not that guy. Billy McFarland is the Firefest guy.
Oh, yeah.
Which you could also watch that episode. Anyways, did we ever do a Firefest
No.
episode?
I was like, I'll let you say it. We did a Bull Island episode.
Bull Island, yeah.
Hey, what if we just spend 30 minutes and we just go through all of our episodes? Did we ever do an episode? About? So they're traveling town to town. They have a carnival with them, right? And that's the fun thing is that all you gotta do is like get like a giraffe or something, and then all of a sudden people are like, "Yeah, I'll buy whatever you're selling."
So he goes to the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, where the Tartarian civilization ended.
That's right.
And when he was there, he kind of struck gold because he figured out how he was gonna do his sideshow. And so this was the first place he ever did it. What he did is he brought a live rattlesnake with him, and he pulled it out of the vat. And he's like, "Look what I have!" And everyone's like, "It's a rattlesnake." And then
Look what's in my hands. A rattlesnake. No, worse, a child.
And then he killed the rattlesnake in front of them. And then he put it in a vat, and he made snake oil right in front of them. And everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen it."
So he's just at the World's Fair. Hot snake oil. Get your snake oil over here. Do your best hot dog voice for a ballpark.
Hot dog, get your hot dog.
Is that real? Is that real?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. You want
to do another run, or did you want to like?
No, I'm sticking.
All
with
right.
that. I feel good.
Yacht dog. Hey, yacht dog.
Now leave in the comments who you would spend $10 for a hot dog on. Left guy or right guy? Just say left guy, right guy. Left guy, right guy. Left guy.
Fat guy or fat guy?
Left
Is
guy,
he? We're
left
both
guy,
fat.
Left guy, hot.
Left guy,
butt hot.
right guy, hot.
Hot.
Don't put a question mark.
Don't put a question mark on that hot. Don't put a question mark on
So he's making it at the thing is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Right in front of
I
everybody.
hope someone's going to cancel it today. I don't even care, dude. I don't even care. I don't even care.
Speaking of counselors, oh my god.
Person's over here being like,
I need to tell you.
I just feel so overwhelmed with yacht dog. Who wants a yacht dog?
Yacht dog. No, speaking of counselors, I need to tell you what I did yesterday.
We only know if the counselor's here if the sound machine is on. I'm going to tell you right now, that sound machine's not going.
That sound
machine's no competition for me.
I am louder than your sound machine. No, I went to counseling yesterday, and or maybe it was 2 days ago. No, 2 days ago. Get to counseling, and they got this new thing. They got an iPad in the lobby. Check it on the iPad. You pick your counselor, and you type your name in. That's check-in, right?
Sure.
And so I'm sitting there, and I don't know what it is in my brain, but I was like, I wonder if this actually says the name you type in, or if it just says your 12 o'clock is here. And so I was like, I'm going to test it.
So you're dumb.
So
why would it say your 12 o'clock is here?
Because it's I don't know.
What name did you put in?
I put Todd. Just a simple.
You're like,
little
that's so
test.
funny.
No, it wasn't funny. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to find out.
I'm trying to be funny.
I was just trying to find out. I'm just like Todd, just to see. And so then I sit down, and my therapist usually gets out there pretty quick once I sign in. A couple minutes goes by, not there. 5 minutes go by, not there. 10 minutes go by, and I'm like, maybe I should go sign in as myself. And finally, I hear the sound of her down the hall. And she like knocks on another door, and she peeks in, and she's like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And then she walks in, and I hear like muffled voices, like they're talking back there, but like I can't tell what they're saying. And then she kind of trepidatiously comes around the corner, and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "You know, it was the weirdest thing." She's like, "The machine, it said someone checked in, but it didn't say Tim, it said Todd." I was like, "Yeah, that was me." I was just testing it. And she's like, "Oh, okay, we can go on back." So we go back, and I sit down.
And the whole time you're like talking, and she's sitting over here going. Because in her head, she's like, "Why did you do that?"
No.
Why'd you do this?
Wait, it gets worse.
How does it get worse?
And so I sit down. I'm getting settled. I always take my wallet, my keys out because they're uncomfortable to sit on that couch. So I'm getting settled. And she's like, I was worried when I saw that. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, the last couple of weeks, I kind of had a little bit of a Facebook stalker. And his name is Todd. And now there is no possible way I will ever get rid of that little thought in the back of her mind that's like, is Tim Todd? And I will never get that to go away.
Yeah, I know you won't.
I'm like, no! No! No!
Because I'm going to start several Facebook accounts.
Go, Todd.
And I'm going to start Facebook stalking
stalk your therapist.
a lot of people in your life. And I'm going to link them all back to you.
And so now I'm like, there's never.
So what'd you say to that? You go, I was just joking. I'm really not Todd.
I said,
and she was like, okay.
I said, yeah, what I literally said was, yeah, any similarity to real persons or places is purely coincidental.
I'm going to make an account called Todd Stone. And then I'm going to send her a message and to say, is this your grandma's house?
You know what's even worse? Recently, it gets worse. Recently, in a session, because I genuinely have thought about this before. I said, hey, do you guys have any literature on like the psychological impact it has on people in therapy to have a one-way relationship? Because that's what this is. This is a one-way relationship that I pay for. I know nothing about you, and you know everything about me. And I'm like,
woof. Now she's like, oh, Tim is for sure.
And I'm not Todd. Like, I cannot overemphasize enough. I'm not Todd. But the fact that...
Can you put that in the intro, I guess? I'm not Todd. To be clear,
I am not Todd. We need to be clear, I'm not Todd.
Not Todd. Not Todd.
I have already decided though. Next time, I'm checking it as Todd from Facebook.
Todd from Facebook, and it cuts it off too. So it just says Todd Fro. No, the rest of it said from Facebook.
But his last name is like Froman or something like that. So
golly, dude. Okay, well that's crazy. So I'm sorry that your counselor is like.
Yeah, I
mean, if that fails, you can go to the one next door.
Next time I show
they know enough about us. We can start with, and I don't know anything outside of these four walls. And that includes the other side of this one. But it seems like the way that your friend talks to you, you describe him as your best friend, but that doesn't seem very best of him to do.
And maybe before you say anything, we should set some boundaries for what this relationship's going to look like.
Yeah. Please stop liking all my photos on Facebook.
I know you're Todd.
Tim, I know you're Todd.
The intro needs to just be, you say, Tim, I know you're Todd.
I know you're Todd. And then you just go, I'm not Todd. Not Todd. All right. So stupid. This show sucks. This show is terrible because of the guy on the right.
Guy on the right. Hot butt. But no, I hate him.
Hot butt.
So he does the sideshow at the World's.
What is wrong with you, dude? That's crazy. So he's set up. He's doing the stuff. He's yelling, snake oil, snake oil.
Yeah.
And then he's selling a lot at the World Fair.
Yeah, he's starting to sell a lot. And long story short, this takes off at the World's Fair. Word starts to spread. He starts.
Is he selling them in vials?
Yeah, they're. Well, I do have a picture of them, which this is what he's selling.
Okay.
And
Okay.
The logo on this, genuinely,
yeah, pretty cool.
I want this. This goes.
Like I would have
hard.
that as a poster.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Okay.
And so he sells this stuff. It's supposed to cure.
So
all
it's
sorts of
for frostbites, chilblains, bruises, sore throat, bites of animals, insects, and reptiles. It also says that the one true life is found in the light above. Dr. Bronner. We did an episode about it. Good for man and beast, it says. So, interesting.
Yeah. So it's basically anything.
It's
It
good for
cures
anything. Yeah.
It's basically what they advertise it for. Artwork on it is really cool. Comes in this little box. And he travels all around the country selling it. And
that's a modern picture, which means that's just somebody's unopened.
Yeah, a collector.
Wow.
Oh boy, am I sick. I sure do need Tim Stone's Get Well Quick Trick. And what is it? It's simply chug an entire gallon of orange juice. Wow, I forgot. And then this shirt reminded me. I'm so glad that I have this shirt as a public service announcement, a public health service to other people around me. Do your part. Get this shirt. Shop.tilln.com.
And it gets super popular. Popular enough where he builds a warehouse in Chicago where he is manufacturing these.
Oh, wow.
And he ends up building a second warehouse because he was so successful.
So you got to like raise rattlesnakes then, right?
I mean, yeah, if you were using rattlesnakes, because he wasn't. So there was no snake oil in his snake oil. It was actually just mineral oil, beef fat, chili peppers, and turpentine was the ingredients in his snake oil. And he sold that and said it was snake oil, but it wasn't. And later they found out that he put the pepper in it because it would make your skin burn a little bit. So you would think, oh, it's doing something, which is clever. Same thing toothpaste people did.
Yeah.
And so he got so big and so popular selling this stuff that there started being Clark Stanley knockoffs.
Okay.
And so there started being fakes of his fake out there selling snake oil.
Sure.
And this became a really big thing. He was doing it all throughout the early 1900s. That started in 1893 at the World's Fair, which, sidebar, I'm reading War of the Worlds right now. And I didn't think about this before. 1893 is the same time that book was written.
Okay.
Which is an alien book. And you've seen the movie, I'm assuming, right? In like the early 2000s, the War of the Worlds movie.
No.
You didn't see that? Really?
Yeah. But
like
I know the
super
War of the
popular.
Worlds broadcast.
Yeah, we did.
Which we've done an episode about.
You didn't watch the movie?
No.
With the... If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I mean by that.
No, I don't think I have.
Do you know anything about it?
About the movie?
Yeah, or I mean, the world. I mean,
I taught the episode on War of the Worlds.
Did you really? I thought I taught the episode on War of the Worlds.
That's cute. So, yes, I do know the story. What point are you trying to make?
Well, it's interesting to me because I always thought it was interesting the depiction of the.
What's interesting to me? I've always thought it was interesting. Because the interesting thing about this interesting thing is that I find it interesting.
I'm just trying to hit a word.
I always have.
So the aliens, they are on these little tripods.
Oh, yeah. This looks like we go, wow. They're on these what?
They're on these little tripods. I mean, like giant tripods that they walk around. And that's their like ship. They're in there piloting this thing and they're killing everybody.
Okay.
And I've always thought it was interesting because that's such a weird depiction that you don't see anywhere else. Like they're always in like flying saucers or like spaceships. But War of the Worlds came out in 1993 before the Wright brothers. And so he didn't realize they could fly.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to it. And the story is interesting because in the story, what they see from Mars is they see like just this explosion come out of Mars. And then these like essentially asteroids hit Earth. And then those are in them.
Those legs pop out. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this guy didn't have a category for flying machine because that didn't exist yet, because he wrote this in 1893.
That is interesting.
Which is just so fascinating to me. But he came up with heat rays. They weren't lasers. In the movies, they were lasers. But in his mind, they were heat rays. And so they just like burned you. Which is very interesting that he came up with that, though. I don't know. Very, very fascinating to think about.
Yeah.
But so that guy was writing that at the same time that this guy was going around selling snake oil.
Okay.
And he goes through the early 1900s selling this, becomes incredibly successful, multiple factories, world-renowned snake oil salesman. And in 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed. And basically, this is the precursor to the FDA.
Right.
And what was interesting is basically that made it to where you had to substantiate all the claims that you made about the things that you were selling.
Yes.
And
why this is on the can. It says, is this still on here, or have they removed this part? Because they used to have on the can that these claims have not been evaluated by the FDA. Doesn't look like it's on here anymore.
Did they get them evaluated? They might have got them evaluated.
They might have now. It used to say on here these claims have not been evaluated by the FDA.
Interesting. Huh. I remember I've seen that on there. I've seen that on those cans.
Yeah, but it's not on here anymore.
Maybe they got evaluated.
Or maybe they changed the verbiage on here
to make them passable. That's also possible.
Yeah.
But the FDA, so this Pure Food and Drug Act looked like it was going to stop all these snake oil salesmen.
Okay.
But what ended up happening in practice is this was really in response to the conditions at the Chicago meatpacking facilities. And so they cracked down on those facilities, but the snake oil salesmen were still able to run. And a lot of these elixirs and things like tonics still were able to operate for years after the Pure Food and Drug Act. It wasn't until the FDA finally was actually established in 1917 that they then had the manpower to go come after all these people.
Yeah.
And after this, Clark Stanley was actually found guilty for fraudulent. I don't think this is the actual charge, but fraudulent fraudulent marketing of the snake oil, claiming that this was snake oil and it did all these things that it didn't.
Right.
So he was fined. He didn't face any jail time. He was fined. Get this, $20, which adjusted for inflation is $490. And
okay, so
he was fine.
He's like, okay.
Yeah. He's like, all right, whatever. And then, so I do think after that, snake oil got such bad press that it wasn't possible to sell it, and it became the thing for scam, snake oil salesman. And so I don't think his business was ever successful like it was before, but he had almost 30 years of gangbuster success.
Who cares?
And then a $490 fine. So he kind of got to ride off into the sunset with it.
Yeah.
And now it seems like the stuff is still
They all do. And that's why I'm kind of like, we should just be grifters.
Well, here's what's really interesting about this. As I always do, look at a bunch of sources for this. And then lately, I've been using Notebook LM to give me notes from it.
Sure.
And I listened to the podcast, and Notebook LM took an interesting direction with this, because it didn't just be like, here's the story. It said, here's the story, and here's why this is exactly what the supplement industry is doing today.
Yeah.
And they freaking hammered. The AI hammered the supplement industry, because honestly, it's pretty similar.
Yes.
They juxtaposed how people were so afraid of actual medicine in that area because it was painful. And so then they did these natural tonics and things like that. And they were marketed as natural remedies.
Yep.
They were things that the natives did, that foreign medicine men and shamans did. And they were all marketed. They were green. They talked about the
That's what I don't understand about the Maha stuff, when they're just like, yeah, these remedies have been around for, and it's just like, guys, just look at life expectancy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, why does it being around for so long make it better?
What are you talking about?
And it's the same thing. And so, and what the supplement industry does that is so sneaky is because they claim to be dietary supplements.
Right.
They don't have to go through the same regulation.
That's what I was trying to find the claim on Celsius. I wonder if they've changed. I do wonder if they've grown to the size.
Yeah, where they.
But they also got sold to Pepsi, didn't they?
Ooh,
I'm pretty sure Celsius got bought. And
they
then
were going to do this.
they were like,
Right.
this is not a supplement anymore. This
This is a drink.
this is an energy drink.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that affects whatever that is. But I know that like First Form drinks for sure have that label still on them.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying too, is like go to a supplement store like I like the people at S2.
Yeah.
Supplement Superstore in Kansas City. Because I like that they gave me a diet plan and they're knowledgeable about what they're talking about.
Yeah.
At the same time, and most of them aren't gonna be sneaky with you.
Yeah.
But like, obviously I drink a lot of protein powders, protein shakes, that kind of stuff. There's
Obviously.
Obviously,
I drink a lot of protein
you can
powder.
visibly see that I drink protein shakes. As evident by my
this
hot butt. No, but I'm saying by my
Now, to be honest, the fact that you did that's a protein powder brain thing to do.
I'm podcast.
This guy's got protein powder brain.
I'm a podcast bro. I'm an army guy. No, but what I mean is that there's definitely plenty of those like these fat burners and stuff.
Yeah.
That it's just like that's not a thing.
Well, I think that's the thing about a lot of these things is they do something, but they don't do most of what they claim.
The fat burners are high caffeine, which is a hunger suppressant.
Yeah. And so like they do something,
or it's like,
and they do just enough of that thing for them to placebo on top of that thing.
Yeah.
Where like it makes you think that it's like, oh, this is having a
This
big
is working.
impact. Yeah. And it's
the same thing where like people are like, oh, cardio and lifting weights help you lose weight. No. That's a placebo. The only thing that helps you lose weight is a crippling self-hatred.
the only thing that helps you lose weight are GLP-1s.
Oh, I wish I had the self-discipline to go to the gym. Oh, I hate working out. I do too. I also hate working out. I just hate myself more. That's where you got to get to.
You got to get to that level.
And people, listen, people are like, that's not a good motivation. You go into the gym out of like being fat phobic or being self-hatred. That's not good motivation. Why am I waiting till I have pure motives to do something? All right. I'll tell you what motivates me: looking bad. Feeling bad motivates me. Like, now that's not the right motivation. That's not healthy. I agree. Yeah. I agree. And Tim's counselor agrees too when I go in there. I always do a follow-up meeting.
So, hey, did he bring up? Did
and
he
she always says
to
me, she goes, is he Todd? And I go, no, I don't think so.
I don't think he's
But
Todd.
don't talk about that. Do you think that I look hot?
I'm not curious about what you're concerned about.
I don't care what you think at all.
If you think I'm hot.
You know? I have crippling anxiety about it.
Saying no, so he has to go back.
I have nightmares about gaining all my weight back. Yeah, none of that's healthy. None of that's healthy. But you know what it does? It gets me to go. Quit waiting till you have the right motivation. You have some motivation. At least start. Is what I'm saying. I know that's not valid. I know that's not good advice. I'm aware.
But it is advice.
But it. You know, hey, the statements I just made have not been evaluated by the FDA. I'll tell you that.
So, anyways, that's Stanley. That's Clark Stanley. He's the not the first snake oil salesman, but the biggest by far, and the one who gave snake oil.
The fact they had a whole warehouse is crazy.
He had multiple.
The
warehouses.
number of people who have to be in on this is just beef tallow and
oh yeah, and they all knew. And well. What is crazy, I don't know if they all knew because he said he had a secret formula. And so like there might have been like this is the secret stuff. And like everyone's like, oh, they were putting the secret stuff in. But I do know when he traveled, he did that thing and he was an early adopter. I don't know if he was the first, but he was an early adopter of like having plants in the crowd. And so people would be like, oh, my leg hurts. And then
my leg is short. Let me pray for it. And it extends.
Whoa!
Wowzers! Why'd you go? Wow!
Do you remember Kid Pics? Which sounds crazy if you don't remember what
that.
That sounds crazy if you don't remember.
Yeah, that does.
You don't remember it? It was the 90s. It was Microsoft Paint for kids.
Okay.
Called Kid Pics with
Yes,
an
I know what
S.
you're talking about. Yes. Yeah,
And
yeah.
everything you did had a sound effect. And
Okay.
one of them was, whoa! And I can't remember what did the whoa.
That's
It was
crazy.
One of the things did
Well, that was worth our
whoa!
time. So, is that the end of the episode? Fiddle off then, man. Hey, do go listen to the Painless Parker episode. It was a great episode about a dentist who did kind of the same kind of stuff. Was just, and it was during an era where marketing your dental practices was weird, and he became very good at marketing. So, go check it out.
Whoa!
Wow, that's crazy.
Sign up
Also,
for Patreon.
next week's episode is available on Patreon right now. So go check that out. Next week's is a doozy. No, it's not. It's fine.
You don't know what we're talking about now.
All right, fiddle off.